Hold on tight for the next hour. You're entering into a place, a zone called the alternative to the alternative media. It's a place, a special place where even truth seekers fear to tread.
All right, people, let's move like we've got a purpose.
Affirmative.
Okay, welcome back, kids, boys and girls. Those of you who have decided you're one sex or the other, you're listening to the Investigative Journal, and I hope you'll enjoy this show. I've been on this radio station for quite a while. This is Greg Anthony, and you're listening to FirstAmendmentRadio.com. Yep, we're back again. You know, the days could be numbered. I keep reading on the internet so many things. You wonder why you even wake up in the morning. But one of the nicest things about life is you can find obsessions. Things that just obsess you to the end. And it keeps you going. One of my obsessions is the ice wall. And the reason is I've lived in hot climates so long that I would just love to lay down on the ice wall and feel that cool Antarctica breeze. And then start walking into a new land that we don't even know exists. And you don't have to travel way up in that fictitious space they tell us about. Fictitious universe, space. Isn't it nice to be obsessed with something so simple as, where do we live, Margaret? Where? Where do we live, honey? Oh, we live on the earth. Well, what's that like? Well, they told us it was round. I saw it there when I was in first grade. But did you hear that crazy guy on the internet say it's flat? Well, he must have been coming from the 14th century. He probably believes that, the plague is right around the corner. Or the earth is going, or we're going to find the end of the world by the end of our generation. Or he probably believes in bloodletting as if he became a physician. Those people ought to be banished. They're stupid, irreverent. They go against the Pope's holy orders. The Pope says the world is round now. So anybody who says the world is flat must be banished. But if you go back hundreds of years, the Pope said the world was flat, and anybody said it was round needs to be banished. I guess what the Pope says is what he wants to say, and he's right all the time. But he can't be right about this one, because maybe they were right years ago, and now they're just changing their tune to make money off of NASA. You know how many billions of dollars they bring in that charade they call space? And I'm looking at a beautiful sunset, and they tell me the sun is like 27 billion trillion miles away. Now, if you put a sextant to it, now many of you people out there don't know what it is, because you don't have to navigate anymore by yourself. All you do is you put on that little GPS system, and that voice takes you, turn left at the first block, and then go 300 meters and turn right. What about when you're in the ocean? She goes like this. Go to the third wave that's coming in off the port bow, and then hang a Louie. And then keep going 5,000 miles until you see Tahiti. Pretty easy. I bet you the sailors back in the 15th century loved that. Don't you think so? But there was a sailor way back when who navigated the earth. It took him 3 years, and he saw all the ice walls. Saw everything. Everything. But he never went around it. he was on a flat surface like a record player. And Captain Cook will tell you all about it if he was still here. But I guess for all you Christians out there, when you pass away, you can meet him up there and look down and say, wow, Greg was right. The earth is flat. And I'll be where? I don't know. I'll be walking. You know what I'll be doing? I've decided I'm going to that ice wall. Then I'm going to freeze myself there. And then wake up 5,000 years in advance and see what the hell happened. Yeah. And guess what? How I'm going to freeze myself is I'm going to meet a polar bear. And me and him are going to go there together. He's going to show me the way. And then we're going to freeze ourselves. And I'm going to wake up with this polar bear. And then we're going to tell the story of what life on this planet is. Oh! He's going to scratch. He just tapped me and said, planet! It's a plane. Well, sorry. But anyway, it's nice to have an obsession, right? What's yours? What is your obsession in life? I've met so many people that have them, and I enjoy this one. I mean, it takes me away from the world. I can sit and think about this my whole life and be very happy. You know, you ever go to a bar and you're just sitting there, you say to the bartender, hey, give me a whiskey. Nobody drinks whiskey anymore. I mean, is there something wrong with whiskey? Do you ever take a nice, smooth shot of Jack Daniels? Not bad. You know, my grandmother, God rest her soul, I don't know if God will rest her soul, but that's a nice expression. I wonder why we even say that. God rest her soul. What if I said, my grandma died, oh, what a beautiful woman she was. That's better. But anyway, she used to take a shot of whiskey every night. And she didn't have to go to alcoholic counseling meetings. I asked her, I said, Grandma, can I taste it? And she put a little bit on her finger, and I tasted it. And I said, oh, how could you drink that? Now I know. Oh, Grandma, you had such patience and fortitude only to drink one. But here we go with my obsession. And the reason I'm going to do this is to drive you all crazy. I mean, it's my radio show. I can have my obsessions. You want to have a radio show? Have your obsession. What is your obsession? I know people that have an obsession with cleaning. You ever meet a person? Can't stand anything dirty. I said, that's a person that's going to have a sickness. They're going to be ill because they haven't built up an immune system. They've never slept in a barn. They've never slept anywhere outside of in a clean room. My goodness, that's an obsession to me. Now, I'm not saying another obsession. Do you really need to take a shower every day if you're not a hard laborer? You know, I do it. I take a shower every day. I sit in there and go, wow, there's no dirt coming off of me. So why am I taking a shower? Well, you do it to make yourself feel good. So anyway, you don't need to take one every day, but we do. You ever see those old cowboys? In those movies we see, they didn't shower for weeks. And they still were allowed to come into a place of public imbibing or whatever they were doing to socialize. Nowadays they go, oh boy, he stinks. Okay, enough, Greg. Let's get to your, what'd you call it, an obsession? Yes, the flat earth. Now I'm going to turn it over to a gentleman on YouTube who says he's seen the ice wall. Now, when you watch YouTube, you don't know if you can believe these people or not. So there's three things you can think about here. One, he's telling the truth. One, he's lying. Or two, he's insane. Okay? So if you can understand those parameters, you may enjoy it. Here we go.
Talking about his experience of visiting Antarctica. This is not the first time I've received a message like this. I've received a few of them. The last reading that I did of it had a terrible sound quality. So I'm going to reread it and see how it sounds. This gentleman is asking for assistance from material scientists in order to validate sample that he has kept from his travels. I have seen the ice wall, from email redacted to Flatwater, Flat Earth. Hello, my name is David, and I am a witness to the ice wall. Since the unaltered facts described below could be used to ascertain my identity, I have changed certain details to protect against that danger. My background is a bit unusual. I graduated summa cum laude with degrees in economics and population studies, and later earned a Juris Doctorate from an Ivy League school. So what does one do with that kind of educational hodgepodge? I worked for a Fortune 500 company where I worked on, and later supervised, a team responsible for finding economically viable means to move product to and through some of the world's most remote and inhospitable locations. Some of the drops, as we called them, required creative solutions. Barriers to entry included everything like unreliable transportation channels and personnel, local warlords and pirates, local corruption and legal issues, adverse weather conditions, hazardous terrain, and basically every obstacle that you can imagine. In 2005, still relatively young, and almost 30, and having a taste for adventure, I applied for work at what was advertised to be a minimum 3-year assignment at an Antarctic research post. The job for which I applied was a human resources type job, and they were keen for someone with experience in the shipping industry. It wasn't a terrific fit for my experience and skill set, but it was close enough that I gave it a shot. I didn't hear anything back for 6 months after applying, and almost forgot about the application when I was contacted by someone who identified themselves as being from the U.S. Department of Defense, and asked if I would be interested in consideration for something else. They told me that the work would still be in Antarctica, and that it would be a better match for my skill set. I was interested, so I sent them a packet of information they requested that was the size of a small phone book and submitted to a single-scope background investigation. I was eventually cleared, contracted, and told that I would be support for a team that is searching for microbes in hard-to-reach places. In 2006, I arrived in Springfield, Virginia for a pre-departure briefing. Entry required going through 4 checkpoints and a half-dozen pat-downs. There was a heavy military presence even inside the building, and I was escorted at all times. I can still remember the smell of the corridor as I walked down it at 07:30 to the briefing room. I entered the room where one other fellow was already seated at a large round table, a man named Mike. Mike was approximately my age. He had a MS in mechanical engineering, and his expertise was in bodysuit temperature regulation. If you needed to send someone into a sub-zero environment without them turning into an icicle, Mike was your guy. Other people started to come in and the seats eventually filled, 15 in all. 14 of us were male, and all of us approximately the same age. 10 of us were military or ex-military. Everyone's background was consistent with what you would expect from a team assembled for the purpose of performing a scientific exploration of Antarctica. I would later get to know all of these people well and consider many of them to be fine individuals. At 0800, everyone had helped themselves to the instant coffee left for us. A middle-aged gentleman, Tom, walked in and introduced himself as our project leader. Tom started by saying he had read each of our files and was so grateful for us taking this assignment. Yada yada. He then started a slideshow presentation. Slide 1 read, Project Copernicus, the name of our assignment. The slideshow illustrated some of the early days of the project. We were one of 6 teams working under a task force, ultimately under the authority of the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency. He then asked the questions, why does an Antarctic research mission require its personnel to have top-secret clearance? Anyone? In what was probably the first indicator that I was the troublemaker of the group, I answered, it doesn't. Tom darted his eyes at me with a bit of surprise in his expression, as though it was crossing his mind that I already knew what was coming next. But he continued, why would the teams working on such an assignment be compartmentalized? Why would its members be chosen individually instead of corporately? What does Antarctic exploration have to do with the security of the United States? Nobody answered. These questions had all crossed our minds, and we expected to eventually get answers, but we didn't expect to get asked those very questions from the man under whom we would be working. The answer, he said with some pause for drama, is that we're not here to explore the Antarctica that you studied in grade school. More pause for drama. I'm sure he was enjoying it. We're here to explore the real Antarctica. Tom flipped to the next slide, a map of a flat Earth, and the words, the Earth is flat. I laughed. In my mind. Others laughed as well, but I can't say whether I merely projected my amusement on them, or whether they were actually laughing as well. Tom clearly anticipated our reaction. Without a word, he flipped to the next slide. A photo of a battleship alongside an ice wall that dwarfed it by comparison. Next slide, a photo taken from approximately a mile in air, ocean at bottom against the ice wall, followed by an incredible empty vastness that eventually disappeared into darkness. Next came a video. It was a heavily bundled Tom, though a bit younger, walking atop the ice wall where it met the ocean, and narrating his observations. It appeared to be his first visit, later confirmed to be so, and he was expressing the surrealness of his experience. More videos, more pictures, more graphs, data, and explanations. The slideshow ended, and Tom told us that we would be supporting exploration beyond the ice wall. Well, to say that there was a lot of discussion at that point is an understatement. We didn't know if this was a joke or a test, if Tom was just a lunatic, or if we and everyone around us had truly been fooled all of our lives. I had been programmed, and this data did not work within the confines of that program. I had to see it for myself. 2 weeks later, I did. The team traveled by ship. The journey was incredibly long. The days kept getting colder. Eventually, we reached the wall. The first thing that struck me was that it was so irregular in height and shape. The illustrations and videos that Tom showed us seemed to illustrate a uniformity about it, but seeing it in person revealed that this wasn't the case. Some sections of the wall were sloped, while others were not. I would describe some areas to be 2 to 3 times the height of the Washington Monument, while others appeared to be much taller than that. On this particular visit, I did not leave the ship and therefore did not see things from atop the wall, but I can confirm that the wall is gigantic and appears almost infinite. This just scratches the surface of my experience and observations. While 99% of my work was performed from behind a desk, I saw things and learned things that would blow your socks off. The first question is whether the Earth is flat. It is. The second question is whether the world as we know it is surrounded by an ice wall. It is. The third question is what is beyond the ice wall. We have a tiny sliver of the answer to that question, and the little bit that we know is astounding. I've kept this to myself long enough. I'm tired of the lies. Mostly I'm tired of seeing the wrong people prosper because of those lies. I need help. I want to get this story out, and I need to do so safely. I'm not keen on being locked away for violating my security clearance. I expect to be vulnerable to harassment or harm by private individuals, foreign governments, and probably my own government as well. I'm writing this from a laptop that I purchased with cash 2 years ago and haven't used until earlier this week. I am in a parking lot outside a motel using their free Wi-Fi. I've gone over this message in my mind for years. I thought about posting to YouTube or sending it to media outlets, but I can't get myself into a situation where I've given up my freedom so that a total of 100 people can hear my story and disregard it. I am not a paranoid person, and I do not live my life in fear, but I don't believe in taking unnecessary risks. I knew that I might someday need or want sound evidence to back up my story. Photos can be fake, documents can be forged, witnesses can perjure. I'm not about to let myself be dismissed as a lunatic or a liar. So let me ask you, what would you do? I did something, and it doesn't involve photos. I have verifiable proof of my journey and where it led, but a premature disclosure or a release could undermine my ability to authenticate it. I hope to soon be in a position where I can disclose it. I don't enjoy being cryptic. As the operator of a YouTube channel, I am hoping that you could offer some suggestions for getting this story out. My goal is to use the audience to get attention, but also to find reputable and sympathetic chemists and material scientists with the knowledge and access to technology needed to perform a qualitative analysis of something acquired from beyond the ice wall. Please let me know if you can help. Thank you. David. End of message. So as I said earlier, other people have sent me messages similar to this before. When they did that, I didn't take the opportunity to record what they had sent me and keep it for posterity, so this time when this message came in, I thought that I had better keep a copy of it and share it with you guys. There is what David has sent me. I hope this was interesting to you and informative, if nothing else. Thanks.
Okay, yeah, it was interesting and informative, to say the least. I think he's got scientific, he wants somebody to, he got some stuff over the ice wall he wants to bring back and then do a scientific analysis of it. Now, how far would that go? You know, who's going to be crawling all over that? Any CIA operative, if they want to keep the ice wall and what's there a secret, this guy will be dead within 30 days. So, look, we know they're lying to us. We know it's there. I don't have to convince people anymore. I'm convinced to myself, and that's all I care about, to be honest with you. What do you care about? You want to convince me of something? No, I mean, convince yourself. Do your own research. I look at it this way. In life, the only way you find out what you want to do is by a process of elimination. It's doing all the things that you think you want to do until you find out what you really want to do before you really know, unless you're one of these, people that wake up and go, I'm going to be a nuclear physicist. All right, there are certain people who get into something when they're like 3 years old and that's all they ever do. God love them. But what I'm getting at, most of us are just, people out there going, I got to find what I want to do, but I'm going to do it through a process of elimination. So, understanding if the earth is flat or round, I've done by a process of elimination. Eliminate all the exterior facts, all the things in your life that you heard, and then boil it down to basically what makes sense. It's not that difficult. And don't complicate it with things that aren't factual. It's pretty simple. Do some homework on certain longitudinal, certain certain things you see. Your eyes tell a great story. And I had to explain that, did you see that picture? The earth looked round, had a curve. I said, well, did you ever hear of a fisheye lens on a GoPro camera? Can make anything look round. So, here we go with my obsession. I enjoy it. I'm not trying to do it to inspire you to even read about it. I'm doing it for my own pleasure. Is there anything wrong with that? And if you have any comments about it, why don't you email me? But I get so few people that even do that. They don't. What is it? Nobody wants to talk about anything but just what? I'm amazed at certain things that have transpired over the last 15 or 20 years in trying to communicate with people. It's getting to a point where it really doesn't make sense anymore. Everybody seems to be in their own little world because of this internet phenomenon. And it's really absurd. There is no communication is getting worse and worse and worse, not better and better and better. And the things people see and do and want to do, to me, have been distorted by this medium. It's an incredible story that I wish somebody smarter than me could figure out, because the brains of people are changing right before our eyes. Mine is. I can't read a book anymore. Oh, and they'll say, well, you got dementia. No, I got computeritis. I got Googleitis. We just want to learn so much, so we want to do it by fingertips. Okay, I'm going to know this. But it doesn't work that way. And everyone in the world is suffering from it. And the masses and the elite are enjoying it tremendously. You're probably wondering what I'm going to do in the next half hour. And I'm wondering that as well. So I got to figure that out in like 3 minutes. And knowing me, I'll find something that'll really tick you off. Back in 3 minutes on the Investigative Journal.
The book of Revelation says, the spirit of prophecy is the testimony of Jesus Christ. This is at the very heart of FirstAmendmentRadio.com. In that spirit, we have created the Prophecy Reality News app for all of your mobile devices, streaming First Amendment Radio 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Available for your Apple, Android device, and smartphone absolutely free. Get the Prophecy Reality News app installed today so you can listen to First Amendment Radio wherever you are. The Prophecy Reality News app. Get it now.
Visit crosstheborder.org, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of Nicholas Arthur's new book titled When the Third Temple is Built. That's crosstheborder.org. When it comes to prophecy today, much of the evangelical Christian world has their eyes on Israel, waiting and watching to see when the third temple will begin to be built. The plans are drawn, the Jewish people are eager. Most evangelical Christians today believe that the rapture will happen before the third temple is built. Hi, I'm Michael Eugene. I was taught that Daniel's 70th week was in the future. Is that really what the Bible teaches? Have we searched the scriptures and found this to be true? Why is it so important for a re-established Israel to build a third temple in Jerusalem? Is it necessary to build a temple on the same location already occupied by the Dome of the Rock? Is it necessary for sacrifices to take place in the temple on Temple Mount? Is there really a rapture followed by 7 years of tribulation? What is the New Testament temple? Can we identify history and prophecy? Who is the first beast in Revelation chapter 13? Who are the 7 kings in Revelation 17? I have asked all these questions, and I have found Nicholas Arthur's new book, When the Third Temple is Built, answers all these questions and more using Scripture to interpret Scripture. The Bible says that no prophecy of Scripture is of any private interpretation. Nicholas shows us in his new book, When the Third Temple is Built, how the Bible interprets prophecy and not man's private interpretation. Visit crosstheborder.org, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of Nicholas Arthur's new book titled When the Third Temple is Built. That's crosstheborder.org.
The following program is labeled dangerous and off limits by the supreme Jesuit command. But stand tall, people. Listen up, and you may just learn something.
Oh, dear Lord Jesus, this ain't happening, man. This can't be happening, man. This isn't happening.
Okay, kids, boys and girls, mujeres, hombres, caballeros, donna. You see, I'm a trilingual person. ¿Dónde está el baño? ¿Dónde el baño? There's 3 languages right there. That's all you need to know when you go to a foreign country. Know where the bathrooms are and the difference between girl and boy, and mujeres, hombre, caballero, etc., etc. So anyway, now that you know I've mastered 3 languages, you're probably wondering what I'm going to do this half hour. I'm still wondering. But anyway, I was sponsored yesterday on my show by Legal Eagle Document Service, the greatest document service ever. You can go there, click on legaleagledocumentservice.com. Get all your legal documents free this month. They're doing everything for $100. Can you believe that? But guess what? I got a memo today from Legal Eagle Document Service. We're pulling our advertising because your show doesn't have enough listeners. And I said, what the hell are you talking about? You just advertise one day, give it a shot. They did an analysis, a computer analysis, did an SEO, search engine optimization, and said, you don't have enough listeners. And you know what's the real kicker? It's my own company. I did it to myself. I pulled the ad. I said, hey, it ain't going to help here. Why should I waste my breath? Wow. What a show. So I started looking on the internet, this garbage you read. I do this every now and then. And it's crazy. I do a, Google search of all the crazy stories, and I got so many of them today. X22 reports Q. Who's Q? This thing is driving me crazy. Saudi Arabia is the deep state wonderland Whistleblower reveals system is rigged. No shit? I'm going to read that? No way. Okay, here's the deal. Here's another one. Flu shot designed to spread cancer. Doctor admits. Now, we've been talking about that since God knows when. All right. New, very detailed alien invasion visions. Prophecy. I went to that one. You know why? I love science fiction. Okay, Mark Taylor says, who's he? Something is coming. China and Russia will no longer be a threat. Are they a threat? They all work together. Who cares where it comes from? Do you care if if you're going to be invaded by whatever they want? Who cares? It doesn't matter anymore. I'm not going to read that. Then we go to Trump versus the Fed. The Federal Reserve. Nationalize the banks. This story I would never go to because these guys are playing the Hegelian dialectic. Hegelian dialectic. Trump is on their team. They're going to play this all the day. I was listening today. I was driving to get some gas. And I heard Trump talking to Leslie Stahl, who's a journalist. That's a New World Order journalist. Trump's a New World Order president. And they were debating climate change. The Hegelian dialectic at its best. Leslie Stahl, the great whatever reporter from some asshole newspaper, or CNN or whatever they do, says, oh, how can you, people are causing climate change, and Trump is going, I agree with climate change, but we can't agree that people are causing it. Give me a break. If we don't understand that these people are going to make us nuts if we keep listening to this shit, we don't understand anything. Has it finally arrived? Here's the next one I found that would interest us for a while. Is last week's 6% market drop the start of the big one? Who cares? Let it happen. I want the big one to happen today. Drop it all. I don't have any money there. What do I care? I don't have any money. You can drop whatever you want. I'm fine. All right. Nonviolent felons, next story I found, and this is an interesting story, shouldn't lose their Second Amendment rights. Now, I'm a bit of a legal scholar. I name myself that because I feel that way tonight. Although, I wouldn't say it's scholarly to understand one thing about the Second Amendment. They're going to blow your head off anyway. Doesn't matter how many guns you have. So the Second Amendment is nothing today. It might as well just wipe it off the constitutional books. All this crap about, what are you going to do, buy a 45 and fight all of their microwave weaponry and all this stuff? Come on. They're playing this game. They want you to shoot each other. That's all that's going on. I don't know. Nonviolent felons? Felons get guns better than we do. I don't care if they're violent or nonviolent. What's a nonviolent felon? Anyway, someone who, and we can go through the law books and go, oh, it's someone who committed a crime that didn't have anything to do with violence. What is that? I can show you that a misdemeanor is violent. Do you understand what a battery is in the law of torts? A battery is some unwanted or intentional act that causes somebody to touch you or hit you or do something against your will. That's violent, and that's a misdemeanor. I could go and be walking down the street and I decide to knock you over. I'm mad and I knock you over. That's a violent act. I get charged with only a misdemeanor. So I'm a violent misdemeanor. Should I have Second Amendment rights? It's crazy. Look, you can get a gun no matter who you are. That story ought to go down the drain as one of the worst. Okay, and then I saw this one. President Trump embraces Julian Assange WikiLeaks. Sessions perpetuated Obama Justice Department narrative and prosecution. I mean, this is all garbage that you're going to read. That's all they do. And it goes on and on and on. And that's why people on the internet are so crazy. You read this stuff, pretty soon you're going to be nuts. Okay, so this is going to be really cool. I'm going back to my obsession. There was a Flat Earth convention, and ABC News covered it. And this is a place where nearly everyone believes the Earth is flat. So I said, why wasn't I invited? I could have done a great comedy routine there for it. But anyway, that's the way life goes. And so I thought I'd play it for you just to see how this little convention went. Let's see what's going on.
The sky is, in a world where it feels like nothing is as it seems, blue.
It's blue. Of course. Oh, the sky's blue. The sky's blue.
1 + 1 is...
2. 2. 2.
2. There's at least one truth we thought was indisputable. And the Earth is...
Flat. Flat.
The Earth is flat.
My reality, my senses tell me that the Earth is flat and stationary.
Or so I thought. But for the people attending the first Flat Earth International Conference here in Cary, North Carolina, their Earth is indisputably not round.
Yeah, everybody here can agree on absolutely one thing, which is it is not a globe.
For centuries, a flat Earth was accepted as certainty, until science and sailboats said otherwise.
And one of the rules of power is you never admit that there's someone bigger than yourself.
But in 2015, this guy, Mark Sargent, posted his Flat Earth clues.
Part of a series of clues that can help you get your head around both the design of the flat Earth system we live in.
You're kind of the, father of this movement. How would you...
Don't do
You're
that.
the one who sort of started it all.
I did not invent flat Earth. All I did was walk up to a door, point at it, and say, you know what? I think there's some really interesting things on the other side of this, and check it out for yourself. If flat Earth is a university, FEA, then I would be the freshman recruiter.
People have traveled from around, actually, Mark would say, across the flat world to attend.
The first rule of Flat Club is you don't talk about Flat Club.
Until now.
I have a poem about that. It's, right here.
Amy Nicholson wrote a book of poetry about her flat Earth journey.
A few months flat and 7 months to rally.
Kim Gurley came to the conference from Houston.
I haven't really come out all the way yet. I'm still a little in the closet.
The North Pole's in the middle.
Lainey Inavali came from even farther.
I've mixed with quite a lot of flat earthers in New Zealand.
You know flat earthers, I guarantee it. But you don't know who they are because they're afraid of talking about it.
1, 2, 3. We're crazy!
Like many modern movements, this one has grown in large part out of the internet, with rappers like Odd TV evangelizing to hundreds of thousands of subscribers.
No more living on a cartoon ball.
And YouTube channels like
Globebusters,
encouraging skepticism about what you've been taught. For the serious students here at the conference,
This has got to a point now where it's becoming real.
it all comes down to proof.
When it comes to science, there's things you can test right now, right? Fire burns, water's wet, drop something, falls to the ground, that appears to be gravity. Those are things you can test, right?
But the curving horizon, the sloping sea level, the spin of the Earth, unless you can see these phenomena with your own eyes, they may not be true.
A lot of people are going, this is
crazy, right? But think about this. For the last 20, 25 generations, this is what we've told people.
Unlike what we've been told in school, some flat earthers imagine the Earth looks like a snow globe, round but not sphere. The North Pole is at the center of most flat Earth maps, with the ice of Antarctica holding everything in.
So are you certain this is what the Earth looks like?
Pretty sure. Almost. I mean, there are some details to be worked out, sure, but the basic concept is sound. absolutely sound. And one thing, again, we absolutely know for a fact, this ain't it.
So, those iconic blue marble images seen from space, flat earthers denounce them as fakes.
You start seeing words like composite or animation or something that tells you this is not an actual photograph of the Earth.
Yes, question.
So if you think you have questions,
Feel free to line up and ask them while I'm reading the opening statement.
the flat earthers have many, many more.
This is what returns to Earth.
Which is why I thought someone who's actually seen the Earth from space might have some answers.
1 + 1 is?
2.
What color is the sky?
Blue.
And the Earth is?
Round. Just like it is here. This model of it.
Professor Mike Massimino spent more than 20 days in space and worked on the Hubble telescope.
So when you looked at the planet, what did it look like?
It looks round, folks.
Now remember, these are Freemasons talking, and if you ever go to a video called "The Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Moon" or "Astronauts Gone Wild," you'll see that what ABC's doing here is they're presenting all of these pictures. I'm looking at it now of this guy floating in space. Impossibile, caballero, impossibile hombre. Vamos. Vamos a la playa. But let's listen.
It is round. My eyewitness account. And I looked at it as much as I could. It is round.
Okay, we're in the final countdown. How you doing over there?
He's played himself on the Big Bang Theory, but some flat earthers actually believe astronauts are just actors, part of a huge conspiracy going back to those very first steps on the moon.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
And they are.
You don't believe that they've gone to space?
No, not at all. The rockets go up, sure. There's nobody in them.
I hope you're ready to listen fast because I'm ready to speak fast.
Rob Skiba is another one of the celebrity contrarians in the flat earth movement. His popular YouTube videos and podcasts take clues from the Bible's book of Genesis.
There's no way you can get a spinning heliocentric globe out of anything in the Bible.
Are you just skeptical of everything?
I have become skeptical of everything, and I think rightfully so.
Pretty much everyone here, though, is kind of a conspiracy theorist.
I'd say that's a common trait, but I think there's a little bit of conspiracy theorists in all of us. I really do.
This is going to be fun.
It's why many of them do their own experiments. Daryl Marble packed a level on a flight to test if the plane was flying parallel to a flat Earth.
So there's going to be some science-y people who say that is a real Bobo experiment.
They have.
That's a little basic.
I know. It's so simple it'll go right over your head.
You know something? This guy, a lot of these people that I'm seeing at this convention, I've listened to them before. And this one guy, Daryl Marble, who's talking now, good guy. Go to some of his stuff. Daryl Marble, and he does a lot of these experiments. I've done a few of my own. Boy, I wish I would have known. I guess I'm just out of the loop. I'd have been right there, man. I've been trumpeting this story for a long time. Remember, we did all that stuff proving on this show that it's impossibile, hombre, to go to the moon? Oh my goodness.
Credo for many of these believers, check it out for yourself.
Go out and test it.
You just want them to ask the questions.
Why do you believe what you believe? And let you go from there. Because I can tell you something that then you just look at me and say I'm crazy.
A lot of people watching this are going to be like, that man is crazy.
I'm sure they probably do. And I would say, well, they're crazy for not testing what they think they believe.
But in a world of disagreements large and small.
And let's have a moment of silence for that statement. And let's all remember it. Question even what you believe. Man, he couldn't have said it better. And if you're a believer in God, if you're a believer in the round earth, if you're a believer in, what else? Anything that you believe in, question it, because I believe, I've questioned even my own stupid beliefs, and to a point where I've come to the conclusion that it's like a circle. You're going to someday, or if you've never done it, you're really in trouble. Let's say you've been a believer in God your whole life, you read the Bible since you were 3. If you never reach the point where you disbelieve it, you'll never really understand it. Now, some people may say, that's crazy, but I believe that. And I'm going to test even that belief and say, Greg, you believe what you just said? Maybe that's not right. I'm going to test that. Test everything to the point of that's the only thing we've been here on earth for. My goodness. What is wrong with people? They're so set in their belief systems that they can't even enjoy a good meal anymore. I could care less. Let's get right down to the point. I could care less whether you're a Christian or you're a Buddhist, or whether you believe the earth is flat or you believe it's round. I want to share these ideas with people so that we can sit around a table and discuss them normally without this kind of judgmental process that people go through, even they don't know it. Do you know how many people will look at this show that are, they're on First Amendment Radio, which is this all-time Christian show, led by a good guy, Nicholas. I like Nicholas, but I don't agree with him on everything. And they're going to say, how can he say those things? Well, the point of the matter is this. I don't really care what you are. I don't really care if tomorrow you say, hey, I found everything in the Bible to be stupid, and that's the end of the story. Okay. Well, I don't care if you call me and say, Greg, I found everything in the Bible to be so true. It's every word, it's God's word. Please believe that. I don't care. What I care about is that you as a person have gone through the rigors of all of the things that make you what you are. You're not going to change anything in your life but your own self. You're not going to change me. I'm not going to change you. You're not going to change Donald Trump. You're not going to change the Vatican-led New World Order. You're going to change you. And the only way you change you is if you accept deep in your heart the great conversations that made life so interesting. And once you start dismissing them, once you start on this path of, oh, I know it all, I know this is the way and the truth and all that, that's fine. But don't ever think you know it all. You're just a human being. I just marvel at those who are so set in their ways. There's an old story, and I think it comes down to this. There's a saying, and I said it yesterday on my show just in passing, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. You got to take the word dog out. You can't change an old human new tricks, because you can change an old dog. And I'll give you a story tomorrow that'll show that. Dogs are more susceptible and more open to change than even human beings. They're more pure. They're the purest things. We ought to take lessons from them, not us giving lessons to anybody. Get yourself a couple dogs, let them teach you life. They'll do it better than any pastor. They'll do it better than anything. Buy a couple donkeys, a couple goats. You'll learn more about life than you would from any human being, because human beings are basically, they got a brain too big for their own good. And it gets them in trouble. And when they get in trouble, they rely on their old belief system because they cannot stand to be wrong. It's just something we all are, We're just that way. I'm the same way. Look at, what I say. Hey, if you don't listen to my show, I hate you. Isn't it fun? Wouldn't you like to sit down? I'd love to sit down and have dinner with some of the people I never see on the internet. That's what makes it so frustrating. Because we're not just a voice. We're everything together. Our hand movements, the way we look at people. Our eyes tell a million words. You don't get that on the internet at all. And in the end, you don't get camaraderie, you don't get friendship. You get what I'm calling internet friendship. Oh, how many friends do you have? Oh, I got thousands. They're going to come to my funeral on the internet. Yes, if you've listened to the internet your whole life, you can have an internet funeral. We'll talk about that tomorrow. It's really true. I know people that have internet funerals. Insane. Pretty soon that we won't even be people. We'll just be voices in the clouds, right? It's getting to the point where, wow, maybe it's time to shut off the internet, shut off it all, and just go, hey, I want to be a person again. Thank God our dogs don't have to do this. That's why they're getting a lot smarter than we are. Nice to talk to you this evening. Back tomorrow on the Investigative Journal.
The book of Revelation says, the spirit of prophecy is the testimony of Jesus Christ. This is at the very heart of FirstAmendmentRadio.com. In that spirit, we have created the Prophecy Reality News app for all of your mobile devices, streaming First Amendment Radio 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Available for your Apple, Android device, and smartphone, absolutely free. Get the Prophecy Reality News app installed today so you can listen to First Amendment Radio wherever you are. The Prophecy.
Since the beginning of time, kings have sought it, nations have fought for it. It has been traded, it has been borrowed, it has been purchased, it has been stolen. There's a reason for it. To secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and to our posterity. Invest with the security of gold and silver. Call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188 or visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net. Listen to Financial Survival with your host Melody Cedarstrom right here on FirstAmendmentRadio.com at 4 p.m. Eastern or 1 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net or call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188. Toll free 1-800-375-4188.